Okay, good evening, friends and family, and thank you for coming to another night with Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities podcast, Behind Black Business. And as you know, for us, all of our guests are special, and we have another special guest here tonight, Aisha, who is the proprietor of Rose Café. Now, Rose Cafe is a bookstore, and she's going to get an opportunity to tell us about her establishment tonight. But Aisha, I want to thank you so much for coming tonight.
Yep, Denise, you're more than welcome. Thank you for having me and reconsidering me.
Oh, this is a very busy lady, and so many people that come on this show are very busy people. You know, they have businesses and they have families and so many other things to take care of, you know, but we're doing it out here, you know, and Aisha's doing it. She is getting it done. And so I want to thank her for her persistence as well. So I do want to say, as you know, Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities, we're a nonprofit organization. And we've been working hard to help circulate those dollars in the Black community by supporting Black owned businesses here in the Chicago area, because we feel by supporting our businesses that our businesses have the opportunity to give back in so many ways, whether they're hiring someone or whether they're doing business with another Black person or whether they're just helping out the community at large, uh, they're more likely to give back. And so that's why it is so important that we have to see when we invest our dollars in a business, it has a way of coming back to us. We support our Black owned banks and the Southside Community Federal Credit Union, which is located on 55th and Wentworth in the mall. They're a Black owned establishment, and they have been in the community for nearly 20 years, giving loans and financial counseling and consulting and holding events for the community. And when you deposit dollars and open up accounts, that enables them to create more money. And if they can create more money, more dollars, then they can do more for the community. And so that's just how it works. You have to invest in your own. You have to. Everybody else is doing it, and you can't look down or fault or criticize anyone from doing it. It's just like if you have a home, you're going to take care of your home, you know, and that is your responsibility. So we have to look at it that way. And so that's why we're working hard the way we are. And we really have a big heart for our bookstores, because we once had 22 Black bookstores in Chicago. We dwindled down to three in the Chicago area, but we have a resurgence. And that's why I'm so happy to have Aisha here tonight. Um, and at the end, I will tell you who our winner of our monthly book giveaway is. And also at the end of the show, I will announce an upcoming event that we have. This month, our bookstore of the month has been The Book Joint, located at 330 East 51st Street in Boxville, where all those cute train cars are, and there are businesses in those train cars. So when you drive by there and you see those cars and those pretty colors, those are businesses in there. So stop by and check them out. There's a plant store, Plant Lovers, that we had on our podcast last week, that's located in Boxville. And so we want to support them. And so Verlene, who is the owner of the Book Joint, was our bookstore of the month. And this is the book. that we are giving away, Table Set Cooking by Tamika Scott. And this is the book that Verlene chose. And one of our subscribers has won that book tonight. And we will send that book to you free of charge. But we will announce who you are at the end of the show. So let's get started talking to Aisha. And Aisha, as I stated, is the owner of Rose Café. Now, Aisha, I want you to tell our audience, because when they think of Rose Cafe, we think that this is a brick and mortar. Somebody might think this is a brick and mortar and there's a coffee shop, but there's a concept here. So I want you to explain to our audience what Rose Cafe is.
So, hey everybody. My name is Aisha Malone. Thank you, Denise, again for having me. Um, she introduced me already, but Rose Cafe really came after my community came together to restore itself after the looting from the murder of George Floyd. So, the inspiration of it really came from seeing the community come together. And so,
Okay.
as I saw them come together, it's like it's something here. It's something here. And I
Mm,
decided to ask people like, what are we doing out here? It was an epiphany moment. Like, I don't know where it came from, Denise. It was just one day after I saw the loot and riding my bike on 87th and Cottage Grove, and I saw different genders come together. It's like it's something here. My brother and them are very influential in the community, and I asked them like, why y'all do all this? Because I know who some of the people who did it, and they were like, because none of it is ours, and I had to agree.
mm-hmm,
Um, I
mm-hmm,
I have my feelings about how the tactics, but nothing around here in Roseland is ours.
mm,
Um, I have generations in the community. I heard some things used to be ours, and I'm like, well, let's get something that's ours. But not let's not just get anything. Let's get something that's transformational. I am a reading teacher. I've been teaching for 13 years, so I do know the importance of being exposed to literature and representational books and
mm.
words itself and conversations and high level conversations.
Okay.
And I had that wild idea like books can stop the violence.
Okay. Okay.
You
Because
know?
you actually have a T-shirt out,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep. And we was marching. We marched
And
from Chicago.
what does your shirt say?
Guns down, books up.
Guns down, books up.
Really simple.
That sounds like a great mantra, to state, because that's where we are. We feel as an organization, um, that reading is really important. There was a time when we had these anti-slavery laws, anti-literacy laws rather. And with those anti-literacy laws, we were not allowed to read or write. We were, as a people, were not allowed to even own a book. And many of these slaveholders were illiterate themselves. And so our learning to read was a threat to that whole system of slavery. So when we started to learn how to read, it proved to be beneficial towards the development of our freedom. As we learn to read, people started learning about the laws, and people started going to school and getting, educated and getting certifications, and being able to tell our people what we needed to do, how we needed to address the government. We had great people like Thurgood Marshall, out there, and these people were literate, and they were avid readers because they wanted to know so much of what we didn't know. And as a result, we were able to move through slavery, through Jim Crow, through the Reconstruction, went through our civil rights movement. You know, those people who moved us through that journey, you know, uh, they were literate. They knew what to do. And so today, um, for people not to be reading is a problem in our community. And so I think that was a good move on your part. So with your concept of Rose Cafe, now you have a brick and mortar?
So no, that's the end
No.
result.
Okay,
We are
that's what
getting
you
that's the end result.
okay. So how is it Rose Cafe? How did you come up with the cafe? Because when I think of cafe, I think of coffee. So
And in a place of communion, right? A
mhm,
place elegant in the community.
mhm,
You don't hear cafe in Roseland, right?
right.
It doesn't sound right. It's a little bougie.
Okay. Okay.
It's a little bougie. It gives it a little bit more class
Ah,
because
okay.
we are more than what people think.
Okay.
You know, it's one thing I like to tell people. It's a lot of professionals in Roseland. Granted, we may not hang out in there, but we live there. Miss
Okay.
Illinois stays on 108th and Airbrook. I have a
Okay.
judge building their house right next to mine.
Okay.
So you know that whole negative connotation that you come from with Roseland, we're trying to change it. My brother has an AAU team now that's called Roseland Rockets.
Okay.
Um, you hear Roseland name at the White Sox. You know, they let me come down there and speak. I got that. They honored me one Monday for Southside Business. So then just to see like Roseland on White Sox screen,
Okay.
not Roseland someone got killed, not Roseland someone got robbed, not Roseland bookstore, Roseland AAU team, Roseland Miss America, Miss Illinois. So it became a flower is beautiful. The rose that grew from concrete. We did it from the poem Tupac, the rose that grew from concrete, because I really believe that. Tupac mom used to always say that like she never played about books in her house. So when they did a interview with Afeni, his mother, she said like that's one thing she didn't play about. Books was everywhere. I like that idea of having books
Mhm.
everywhere.
Mhm. Now, are you originally from Roseland? Did you grow up in Roseland?
Yeah.
That's your home.
Yep.
So what was it like growing up in Roseland?
So when I was growing up, my dad took me to Carter G. Woodson Library. No, it was not Roseland because there is a library on 111, but it never did what it was supposed to do to grab the community. And as you get older, you think about, damn, why the library wasn't having activities?
Oh
Like
yeah.
why did my dad take me all the way to 95th and Hosted to the library? Because I lived on 114th in Indiana initially. The
Mhm.
library is on 110th in Indiana. Imagine me walking down the street besides waiting on my dad to come home to take me because I always wanted to read. So I just read the newspaper that was delivered.
Mhm.
Um,
So
and
your
growing up,
local library was not offering,
it wasn't attractive.
wasn't attractive.
It wasn't attractive.
Mhm.
It didn't have signs of things in the grass. It wasn't. You walk past it. It wasn't grabbing you. You know, like to say, come in, read a book. But Carter G.
Mhm.
Woodson was, they have things in the window. They
Sure.
had, it was just like, oh, a library.
A library. People walking right past it.
I'm walking right past it. But it's
Isn't
in
that
the
something?
hood. But it's in the hood. Well, you want them
Okay.
to read, but do you? I guess as you get older, like, did they? Because I would have loved to be able to walk right down the street to the library. Because I was going to Palmer Park to play.
Okay. Now,
So
do you have generations of people in your family that have grown up in Roseland? Was it like that? Like your mom, your grandmother, or just your generation?
my mom went to Finger in Roseland. My
Okay.
grandmother owned a beauty salon on 115th Indiana in Roseland. Everybody
Okay.
was born in Roseland Hospital. We all went to Corliss,
Mm-hmm.
Pullman. My
Mm-hmm.
yep, all of us. Yep.
So this is your community. This is your
Yeah.
community.
We used to
So
go to Roseland, and there was I remember it being a pet store up there. But Denise, it was a black owned pet store.
mm,
right on
So
113th in Michigan. I
mm-hmm.
remember my mom when we went and got them fish. There was an army store. It was a lot of black people up there. It was a lot of people. So to see it desert like this is like just remember what it had, because it
Mm-hmm.
possibly can inspire you to bring it back. But somebody got to do it.
So what happened to the people? What do you feel happened to the people from
You know
your
what? I
from
think
your perspective? What do you think happened to the people? Because you were a younger person and you
I
saw
want to
people
say
leave.
like people had to move away because of like that Section 8 stuff. Like people moved. We moved. My dad. We originally we was on 114th in Indiana with Section 8,
Mm-hmm.
and we had to get off or whatever. And we had moved to 104th in state. So then my grandmother who had the beauty salon on 115th in Indiana, she moved to Tennessee. My they
Now, was there any
moved
particular reason that your grandmother moved, or she just want to
because
go?
when
Was she
you was in
originally from? Was she originally from Tennessee?
originally,
Okay. Okay.
yes, she was.
And then she decided to go back.
Hmm. We were
Mm-hmm.
sharing territory with like the Mexicans, and so it became a little violent. Prostitution became a little higher over there. Drug access.
Drugs.
People doing business with the Arabs that was working at Roseland. The drugs was everywhere. Everybody was, my mom was a part of that. So drugs was in the community. It was
Mm-hmm.
really heavily in the community. So bad decisions sometimes come from there. You lose your house.
Mm-hmm.
You got, and that's just the reality of a lot of people in Roseland. A lot of people that moved from like the low end. We had to, it became different. You had to adapt. When the Bulls won in '93 and they did a riot in Roseland. So then some of them business didn't even open back up when the Bulls won. They did that 3-peat. I remember like my uncle and them talking about it. Like, some of them didn't recover. So some of them businesses left.
Mm-hmm.
Some that couldn't recover.
Okay. So what made you stay?
Because I didn't do bad.
Okay.
I because I mean everybody don't do bad that live in Rose, and I know I got a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people who are successful. So um and then when you get older, you start paying attention to stuff because you start realizing that some things can affect you.
Mm-hmm.
They closed one of my, they closed the schools, and I started seeing like because I was in college, but when I was coming back and I was seeing like what was happening about my mama house, it was just like, dang, it's getting little rough.
You're rough.
A little rough. The schools is merging and like people are territorial and now people are violent right down the street. And my brother went and got a master out of being in the gang and stuff. Like I've seen beauty in here over here, and I can't leave my mama. You know how
Mm-hmm.
and so if I gotta be here to because we big on family, if I gotta be here because of you, mom, let's make it livable. Let's advocate a little bit. Let's even though I didn't have the bookstore, I was like president in at Corliss. Like I
Mm-hmm.
always was just gonna be a a role model. That was it's
Sure.
funny. That's my Google account. I had in high school. It's called Role Model 103.
Okay.
I think I always knew somebody had to show it because it was possible.
That's right. And then, like you said, everybody didn't fall. You know, everybody didn't, and because and that's the case in a lot of communities. I grew up on the West Side, and when I came home from college, I saw a huge change in the community that I grew up in, and certain things that happened to certain people. But then you still had families there that were doing what they were always doing,
Hmm.
and holding it down. And all of the communities are like that. So some people come in and they think the whole community is bad. They think everybody is on drugs and everybody is this and that. And but once you go and sit down and start talking to people, in those communities, you find out different. You know, there are people that definitely want a different type of life, and are living a different type of life. And so, um, as we look at the fact that you open up a bookstore, and you wanted to it was actually an evolvement out of what was happening in your community. It was a need, and communities should have bookstores. And actually, with you being an educator, I know you would even think more deeply about that. So, as a student that came through the schools, and now you're a teacher in the schools, um, how were things different? How were when you were in school, and how is it different from now?
How is it different me being in school and me being an educator?
Mm-hmm.
It's very different because teaching is a passion filled job. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that, if especially if you want to be effective. Like I stated, I did graduate from Corliss.
Mm-hmm.
So like and I was like I was at a high rank at Corliss, and I was so like yeah yeah yeah, until I went to college, and it was like what I'm not, I shouldn't be failing anything.
Mm.
But
Mm-hmm.
it made me think about the education that I received at Corliss and what it was compared to in the neighborhood, like how the type of education that they give you to say that they already assumed about you that this is what you could do.
Mm-hmm.
It was already like that. But now, as I'm educating, it's a lot of more social emotional learning. Kids got access to all type of technology. They can learn by themselves. Literally, you can learn how to do a perimeter on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have to do now as an educator is give a little bit more love, because it's just a little bit more love and education now. And if that's ultimately what I see the big difference is. Teachers have to love the kids a little bit more than what people had to do for us as students. You was to
Okay.
teach us because we was getting love. It's
Mm-hmm.
now these kids are neglected. These kids are
Right.
raising yeah, people was raising themselves and back in the day, but nowadays it's
Mm-hmm.
way more. And I don't know if it's because of drugs or just like parents are getting younger, they don't have the resources, so they gotta fend for themselves, so they leave the kids to the back. They leave the kids to the teacher more. My mom and them, we went to school, but my mom and them came and made sure that we knew what the house was. But it wasn't just my household, it was my neighbors, it was my friends. We had to go home. We had to do stuff with the family. We had to be around the family. Now
It was that extended family.
it was
It was that
that.
extended family support that was there.
Teachers gotta
Because you
love real.
always had young moms.
We gotta love real hard nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Because
We
kids are
got to
being neglected.
remind them how beautiful they are. We have to tell them. We got to give daily affirmations. We have to tell them. We have to make sure they remind them what's real, what's fake. We got to let them know what their options are a lot. It's heavy on the social emotional learning nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I mentioned earlier about the bookstores that we once had 22 Black bookstores in Chicago, which meant a lot of people were reading. So now we seem to have a resurgence
Mm-hmm.
of Black bookstores. We have the Book Joint is a newer bookstore, Soulful Chicago bookstore over in Pilsen, Semicolon in Wicker Park is a newer bookstore. Your bookstore is a new Rose Café is a newer bookstore. Um, let me see, what's that? Is there another one? Sada Kirkland Soulful
Mm-hmm.
Chicago Book Fair. You know, she's on her bookstore is on the metaverse, and dress up like Avatar and go into her bookstore. And then Frontline and Underground have been around for some decades. They managed to survive. And then somebody was mentioning another bookstore, possibly on 110th in Michigan. I don't know if you know about it, but somebody was
Mm-mm.
mentioning something possibly there. So there seems to be. Oh, and then Afriware. I never
Oh,
forget.
110 burst into books.
Burst in the books. It says on
Burst into
105th.
110th.
110th. Okay, so there is one. Someone was
Yep.
just
So
telling me about it yesterday.
she's like a mentor of mine. Jarima. She's the one who just awarded me with the Change Making Award. She's doing
Okay.
so much with literacy. She just had a wow fest. I have to introduce you to her.
Okay.
I have to
Okay.
introduce you. Will oh, I have to. She's doing a lot right now with literacy in the neighborhood. She just had a whole literacy fest in Roseland.
Okay. And see, Afriware in Zinga, she's out in.
Mhm.
She used to be on the west side, but she's in Maywood now, and she does a lot out there with her bookstore. And so, why do you think we have this resurgence of bookstores now? Because most of the people feel like they, oh, not interested in reading, and some people are saying, oh, I'm not interested in reading, but we seem to have a resurgence in Black bookstores. Why do you think that is?
Denise, I can't tell you really because
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming right from an English teaching background and just being a voracious reader myself.
Mm-hmm.
Or I want to say maybe it could be the idea that people are inspired.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe everybody's inspired. Maybe we're tired of the old stuff. Um,
And maybe there's a need, you know there's a need, because in reading, for me, the importance of reading, is some people read, for enjoyment. You can read for enjoyment. You can read to gain information, and with that information, then that's going to help expand your perspectives about different things. It's going to help with fuel your critical thinking skills,
mhm,
because you got more information, and then reading can take you places that you may not have enough time in your life to go. Even if you're a big traveler, you can't go everywhere, and reading can take you so many places. A book, if you were to write a book about Roseland, and you're growing up in Roseland, and somebody reads it, you've brought them to a place that even if they came to Roseland, they wouldn't know, you know, but they would know from reading that book. So there's just so much information, and I think we need the information, because
mhm,
you've even said yourself, you didn't feel like you maybe got the education that you should have gotten when you were in school.
mhm,
And I worked in Chicago public schools, and I felt, coming through Chicago public schools, and I'm older than you, that I did get a good education. But I saw them do things with the curriculum, taking phonics and spelling, and changing how they would teach grammar and
mhm,
math, and taking penmanship out. These were some fundamental skills that once you got those skills, then you could pretty much go off and do, whatever you needed to do, because you had knowledge of geography and science, and you just got a good wholesome base. And they started they started messing with that. And I think that's why you had some of the experience that you had. But nobody can destroy your spirit.
mhm,
And so in your spirit, you still had that desire to learn, and you had the capacity to do more than what they gave you an opportunity to do. And that's how you were able to excel and supersede in spite of. But so many people, weren't able to do that. So, yeah. So within your bookstore, now your bookstore is online, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so what are some of your favorite books that you have? That I'll start out with some of your favorites books that
One
you
of
like
my
to read.
one of my favorites right now. I loved Last Time on State Street. Uh, it was really really good. I love Cass by Isabel Wilkerson. That's one of my favorites. Um,
Now, what's the name of that one?
Cass, about the caste system. I'm big on nonfiction.
Okay,
I'm big on nonfiction nowadays. It's I don't know. It's a new thing.
okay,
Uh, yeah, yeah. I love black authors. I've read they all are my favorite. Denise. I don't know. One of my favorites to read with the kids is Bud Not Buddy. I'm a big fan of that. Wonder by PJ Bocasio.
okay.
I like of Mice and Men. You know, so it's I read. So I gotta say they are my favorite. I love books. I haven't read a bad book. There's some books I'm like, I always
Now, do your children like to read?
my oldest is a voracious reader. He's me. He's one of
Okay.
the reasons. And that's why I say like I can't really tell you why a lot of people opened up the bookstore, but we didn't want to keep leaving our neighborhoods to go get a book during COVID because
Mm-hmm.
we was reading so much. It was like, oh mom, like why can't we do it in our neighborhood? We've had those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
We've
Mm-hmm.
pulled up to Wendy's and we had like a horrible customer service.
Mm.
And my son was like, "Mom, you know what? You should give her a book." I, when he said that in my head, it said, "Whatever we're doing, whatever I'm doing out here, whatever I'm telling you, books can do, is working. It's
Okay.
working." And I was excited about that for my son.
Absolutely.
It's like, "Mom, you should give her a book." And it was like, you know what? You're right. You know, you're right. She need a book because you know
Mm-hmm.
books teach you not to be ignorant.
Yeah.
We've had those
Yeah.
conversations. I'm blanking like that with my kids. Like, if you don't want to be ignorant, go read.
Okay. Okay. It sounds like a winner to me. So now off in your bookstore, what are some of your big sellers that people are purchasing? What are they purchasing?
We sell a lot of cast. We sell a lot of cast. We sell a lot of kid books. We sell a lot of kids middle school books. So anywhere from third to eighth, like a lot of parents, we get them to get their kids some books. Um, we sell a lot of Oprah best recommended books.
Okay. Oh, the ones that she recommends.
Hmm. And we
Mm-hmm.
do a lot of Chicago authors. All of our Chicago authors. We are
Oh,
one thing that Rose Cafe do is we highlight local minority authors a lot. Like I got a friend from
okay.
Julian who wrote a book. A lot another. I did an interview with Harold Green with Black Roses and Black
Okay.
Oak. I did I do author interviews. So all my Chicago books go really really fast because I advertise them in such a way.
Okay. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Because I know when we've had some authors on our show, and that's the first thing I'll ask them. Where can people purchase your books? And some of them will tell me, a black bookstore, and some of them will say Amazon, and I'm like,
Hmm.
well, I know people purchase on Amazon. I said, but if you are an author, and especially if you're an author here in Chicago, you should be definitely taking your books to some of our bookstores, and so they definitely need to be going to Rose Cafe.
Yes,
Uh,
because we
abs-
buy the books from them and resell them. So
you
it's
buy
not
them.
like, so our support is let us buy them wholesale and then we'll
Hmm.
sell them in our market. We get to talk about it. We get to show your books on our platform. So
Okay.
it's everybody helping everybody. I help
Okay.
sell, I get exposure, let people know what I'm selling.
Okay. 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 That's wonderful. I like that. I like that. I like that. Circulating it. Absolutely. Um, Now, how can we as a community, um, reading is very important. one of the events that we have coming up is about reading, and I'm so happy to hear so many different people jumping on this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what needs to happen is we all need to know that everybody is doing this. It's like you're doing all of this great work, and certain people know that you're doing it, and then there's a lot of people who don't know. Somebody else is over here doing all of this great work. We used to be able to connect, so whenever anybody was doing something, everybody knew about it.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's happening, and so I'm very happy that it is happening.
I'm
And
happy about that.
so we just got to find a way to connect the dots, so that everybody, all the bookstores are knowing what everybody else is doing, and everybody is always there to support each other. I think that's what's going to be really important. And so and you being a teacher, um your parents were involved in school, you were involved in school. How, our schools are really going through some changes right now. And we want to get our books, our Black books, into our schools. Do you see a lot of our Black books in our schools?
I am so 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 excited that you said that, Denise. I don't know if you saw my I don't know if you follow Rose Cafe on Instagram or any social media platform, but we
Hmm.
are a CPS vendor now.
Hmm.
So I do CPS library makeovers. I've done 3 schools so far. I've done a $10,000 project. I did a $6,000 project, and I did one for like 2,500. So what
Okay,
we
so
do,
how does the library makeover look?
so we go in. They are donating all those old books that doesn't represent the school, the population that they serve, and create send them new books. So
Hmm.
they tell me the demographics, and I get to pick like K through second because I'm a teacher. I also know how to level the books. So I
Hmm.
get 4 books with like one. I just did it yesterday. Um, and I had one picture as a black boy with a mirror, like I want to be a teacher, and he kept saying like I wanted, but but it had made me like I said this is exactly what I wanted. Like when I went in their school, because I did 2 sets for them. When I went in their school, they got these reading nooks. Denise,
Hmm.
if I show you the pictures of the nooks of like how to be an anti-racist and um, the Fred Hampton book, and it's like, wait a minute. And she like the teachers and the students are sitting in their nooks talking about these books. She like they talking about the cover. So because I'm intentional about it, I want you to be like, what, what? I want that because
Hmm.
this words is a direct link to IQ.
Hmm.
Words are a direct link to higher IQs. So even if you're not reading the entire book, reading that title and putting it down, I win still.
Hmm.
But the gimmick is putting a book that people gonna want to pick up twice.
Hmm.
Not reading the title like, nah, I never come back to it. Reading the title and there's something that's in there. Clicking like, man, what is that? Like this book was Chicago Exposed. Like Emmett Till, that's when Emmett Till mother was at the church and
Hmm.
at the funeral. And it's like you pick it up and now you're reading it. You're doing it twice though.
Hmm.
So books in schools is coming back. I'm I don't know how the mission came like this, but I'm a servant of
So
God.
now, how do you get your books in the school? You talk to the principal.
Yep.
So you go to an individual school, and
I'm
you
in the
say
school.
and you say you want to set up a
Hmm.
library in the school,
Yep.
and they give you a space, because I remember when we used to have libraries and librarians in the Chicago public
Back in the
schools.
day, it used
And
to
I
be beautiful.
also, because I was trying to find some of the librarians that we had in the school, and I remember going online, and it was like most of the when you mentioned Black librarians, most of them are no longer with us, And I said, has it been that long? And so then, I remember when they took the libraries out of the schools, and they typically replaced them, either they with a lunchroom or made the lunchroom bigger, or they replaced them with computers. And I too often saw the children playing games on the computers, as opposed to reading. And I know that there are studies that show that the comprehension is significantly
Yeah,
less. I think it's something like 30%.
it's bad.
The ability to attend is less. uh, it's just, not to say that computers are totally a bad thing, because they're not, because there's a lot of information, like you say, that you can get on the computer. But there's nothing like reading a book,
Yeah,
and sometimes it's like if you're a jogger or you run, it takes you a while to get into it, and so sometimes it's like that with a book,
yeah,
because you have to sit there and you have to focus and you have to quiet your mind and you have to get into what you're reading. But the more you do it, then it becomes easy to
yeah.
jump right in. So when you come into school, you go to the principal and you bring in the books, and the principal gives you a space in the building. Is
So
that is
no,
that how
they
this is
do that.
working?
They do that. They this school, Higgins Elementary in Ragtown on 116th. She did it. She just needed 1,000 books to do it.
Mm-hmm.
She said she went to a reading conference.
Okay.
And this is the principal, and she said she got to get back to reading. She said that
Mm-hmm.
it's always been her love as well. She's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's, and when it click, it click. And that's why I'm in school to be. I'm in school to be a principal, because you get to run stuff like that. You get to make those
Mm-hmm.
decisions for what you
Make them
need.
listen.
And
Right.
I need those executive decisions around these kids, because I want them to read, because everybody don't have that as a priority. And
Right.
regardless of why you don't have it as a priority or not, I don't argue that, but I know why it the power in reading.
Mm-hmm.
She has like a nook with these, because I saw what it did with the kid with the teacher, with the book of the teacher. He instantly started saying, one of the boys was like, "Oh my God, I'm taking this home to show my mama." It's that easy.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have the books to do so,
Right.
so let me make it easy. Let me do it. Let me pick the books and give them to you. I know what you need. And that's what Rose Cafe has become. Now we are
Mm-hmm.
taking up CPS libraries. So I don't want it to be no more scholastics, because when they
Mm-hmm.
give those scholastics with the paper, all the books, there's not us. It's still not us. It's still
That's right.
Barbies. It's still characters with things that don't help affirm who we do, or affirm our beauty, or affirm our
That's
strength.
right.
It's none of that. And I
And
want it's
our experiences.
it's that important, and it's more important than it's ever been, because we're losing so many people to ignorance.
That's right. That's
So
right. That's right. You are definitely on point. Now you also, I saw on your website, you were you a listing book clubs, and do you have a book club?
I can't do a book club because I read too quick. So
Okay.
I can't. It's
They
like
won't be able
I
to
gotta get
they
it
won't
in
be
when
able to keep up with you.
because I gotta get it in when I can. I can't do a group. But I want to promote a group. I want to inspire a group. Me personally, I can't do a group. If you read it and I read it, we'll talk about it. But we do supply books to book clubs. So what we call our book club is the book that we read and to interview the author. So,
Okay.
like the sum of us, the book that I gave you to share is like our September book, because we're about to interview Heather McGee.
Okay.
So we would love people to read the book with us so that when we do the interview, it's something like it could be talking points and things like that because we like to talk about like high level conversations as well. And like we want to model that like everybody's talking and having an input, everybody having an opinion, and everybody being respected. But we'd like to have conversations like that because you know my partner Rebecca, she's different than me, so her difference bring in a perspective unlike mine, and she's cool with that. I'm cool with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it, but her partnership with the Rose Cafe bringing her people too. So now it's my people, her people. I'm 36 black. She's 26 Jewish. I'm Southside. She's Evanston or something. No, I'm not Evanston. But we're friends from not physical.
Mm-hmm.
Like our connection has nothing to do with like the obvious. It's just don't. But we bring that together to like show people like it's beautiful when it's done with love because that's like
Mm-hmm.
ultimately how he wanted it to be. Even though
Mm-hmm.
I talk a lot about like inspiring like the black culture and doing things like that, I have very much respect for all God people.
Mm-hmm. And that's the way it should be. It's just that as Black people, we always have to operate under this umbrellas. If you say black, oh no, don't say black.
Mm-hmm.
Don't come in here. Even some of your longtime organizations, Black organizations, will tell you, oh, don't go in there talking that black stuff. And it's like, well, what am I going to talk about?
Right, right.
This is ridiculous, and that's a reality that we have to deal with. That's a reality that we have to live. I'm not, why do I have to apologize? Why do I have to be afraid to say black and talk about black?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's afraid to say, I'm Latino, or I'm
Shout it from the roof.
Korean.
They shout
I
it from the
had a
rooftop.
I had a Hyundai Accord, no, a Hyundai Santa Fe truck. And the lady at the cleaner, the laundromat that I would go to, she was an Asian woman that owned the laundromat. And when she saw I had bought the truck, she come running out, and she was looking at it, and she say, this is from my country. This is good truck. This is my people. We don't even have a truck. We should have a truck. The Africans should at least have a truck. But there's always, when you start talking about Black people, it's like, uh-uh. And so that's just a reality that we have to face and deal with. So if somebody wanted to start a book club, how would they do that? How would they go about doing that? Because I know there are a lot of book clubs out here. There's the big book club with the rapper No Names, got a book
Mm-hmm.
club. And then there's some local Black book clubs. There's an organizer. So I think book clubs are really cool
They the
because you can use
bomb.
your own little circle of friends if you want to, or fam's a good way for family members to come together, um, and you decide how you want to come together to talk about the book, whether it's online or over at somebody's house or over at the park or you know at an over dinner. I mean, however you decide how you want to do that. So if somebody wanted to start a book club, how would they go about it?
If you wanted to start it with us, well, you will be ordering 5 or more books, but you'd have to get the people with a like mind of yours. A book
Mm-hmm.
club is between it's intimate. It's requires consistency. So
Mm-hmm.
our book clubs, you just can't do it with your cousin because you like your cousin. Because
Mm-hmm.
when it's a good book, Denise, I know when it's time to talk about it. Sometimes you need someone like to like have be a thought partner with you, like because it's that important. So and
Mm-hmm.
it's not everybody. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
is not book people. I promise you, I'm not trying to make everybody that. But but because a lot of my family and friends tease me about it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, here come the book lady. And like, it's not even, it's not even that deep or whatever. But I got friends. I'm in education though, so that
Okay.
comes with the territory. People who've been to college who had the gumption to read or the stamina to read. We read.
Mm-hmm.
So you just ask like, do you want to read this book? This book is so good. Well, I heard great things about this book. And I
Okay.
think that's how you started. But I think people just need to be intentional of what you're reading. You just can't read anything because you read it, Denise. Like
Mm-hmm.
I never said because I think it's good. I'm an extrovert. So I like things with characters and like dialogue and things like that. Some people are
Mm-hmm.
introverts, so they might want to read something that's like without characters, just super informational and things like that. I those books exist. There's
Mm-hmm.
a genre for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's a genre for everybody. And once you find your people, that first book you locked in. A good book
Mm-hmm.
is gonna lock you in. You're gonna be like, wow, I got a whole experience. Because a book is an experience.
Mm-hmm.
I got a whole experience. I want that again because we live life every day. We live this reality every day. Just escaping every once in a while is therapeutic.
Absolutely.
I love reading books about people with no kids. I love that. I love those books.
Oh my goodness. But I think it's a great thing. I think it's an alternative, for many people. I think many people, if they try it, will like it. Some, like you say, some people aren't, and then, some people may be in and out. But I'm hoping it's becoming more of the in thing, you know. Um, so got you. Okay, so we have you mentioned the activities that you have, and so how soon do you think you might be coming up with uh, your brick?
I don't know. Someone just talked to me about a bus that
Mm-hmm.
they want us to redo to put the Rose Cafe in a bus. And
Mm-hmm.
so they're going to help us with this grant for it.
Okay.
So for me, I think honestly, I'm just being obedient.
Mm-hmm.
What I want, what my mentors tell me, it might be bigger than what I think. I don't want to rush
Mm-hmm.
anything. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still getting books out here right now. We've given out 10,000 books to the community of Roseland. When I say 10,000 books, it's like good books.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm putting the books like cast in people houses over here. Like I'm doing that, and so I think the mission is getting filled with or without the brick and mortar. I
Okay.
The end result is a brick and mortar,
Okay.
but we're LLC, so we didn't get a lot of opportunities for grants that we would have gotten if we was not for profit. So now we're working. But this is 3 years
Okay.
later, thinking like, oh, you could be a non for profit. Everything is like a learning game for me. Um,
Okay.
they want us to do like we've been given opportunities with the not in neighborhood opportunity for 114th, but
Mm-hmm.
like they kind of look at like we can't find the owners, so and I literally don't have the time to like sit and focus 100% on that. So
Okay.
okay. I'm gonna get okay. So you can't find the owners. I'm gonna call them later. Okay, because I still have to. I'm a teacher, and I'm in school, and then I'm a single
Okay.
parent, and so I'm just like I don't want to drop the ball on anything. So I just say, God, hey, whatever you want, I do. Just don't make it
Okay.
hard on me because in doing what I'm doing, it's not hard. It's full. It's a full
Mm-hmm.
schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Hard. So I don't know if like right now is the best time to do this brick and mortar, especially since I'm
Okay, so you're following your spirit, you're going with the flow of things, and it's all working out, and that's all cultural. Our people often operate on that
I
level,
like that you said that.
Uh-huh. So it's all good.
I like
I
that.
just I had to ask. Yeah. So I'm gonna let you have we got a few more minutes here, about 5 more minutes before the end of the show. I'm gonna let you have some closing remarks here. and definitely let people know if you have some events coming up, and what you're going to be doing.
Um, in closing, I just really appreciate you being a thought. I think you being a thought partner with me, even just talking about the brick and mortar and like where it said made me say something about it, right? And I often advocate for like speaking things into existence and getting it out of here and out
Mhm.
here so that it could be neaten up from somebody else sometimes.
Sure.
So I appreciate that because that made me think like, okay, what is next? What we gonna do, Isha? Um, right now we have the Lit Fest coming up. We set up and we sell Black books at the Lit Fest. I try to do that aggressively at places like that, because of the demographics of who's walking out there. I need everybody to understand us. So,
Mhm.
and that's just a personal thing for me.
Mhm.
Support for me is following me and watching my journey and just rooting me on like, good, that look good. See, they hungry. But just
There's
sharing
your
my
kids.
story. Buying books for me is cool, but telling people about us is even cool. My
Okay.
partner and co-founder, she just won the Obama scholarship,
Mhm.
which is where she gets the opportunity to talk to the Obamas, and they are advocates for like reading in the neighborhood. So
Mhm.
we are thinking like that's gonna be huge for Rose Cafe,
Mhm.
and just literally praying for me. This
Okay.
I'm nothing without God. And I always want
Okay.
to make sure I tell everybody that this is him doing the work that he knows. And he just picked the right person to do it. Because I'm doing it
Okay.
genuinely and I'm doing it humbly and I'm gonna do it. I just
Okay.
that's me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I want you to stick with me here. I really want to thank you for coming on to the show. I did say we would be announcing our winner of the book of the month here, which is Table Set Cooking by Tamika Scott, Taste of South, A Taste of the South. And there's some vegan dishes in here too. So I did go through the book to see that. I'm vegan, so I wanted to know what she had. But Elaine Jones, you are the winner of the book of the month, and we will be contacting you. We will be sending that book to you. And I want to thank you for subscribing. And if you want to be a part of our book giveaway, all you have to do is subscribe to Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities. We will need you go to rrgbc.org. We are eventually going to need an address and a way of contacting you to send the book to you, because we do send it to you free of charge. September 17th at 1717 East 87th Street, Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities is going to be hosting a literacy event. And I'm hoping, Aisha, that you will be present. That's on a Saturday from 2 to 6.
Okay.
We'll have the Underground Bookstore. Frontline Bookstore will be present. The Book Joint will be present. For sure, we know. We're waiting to hear from the other bookstores. We're asking some authors to come, and some book clubs. We want our community to read, not just the children, the adults,
Yes.
everybody. We want everybody reading. And for entertainment, we have David Boykins, fusion, experimental, jazz, soul, hip hop music, and he comes with 11 members. That's one band. And then the famous and lovely Maggie Brown is going to be closing out our event. And Maggie came to help us when we were trying to save a Frontline Bookstore from eviction in Hyde Park, and she performed free of charge. Maggie has a heart for the community. And so Maggie is going to be performing for us at this event. And we know Maggie's a jazz singer, and she can perform in different genres: jazz, blues, R&B, soul. She's a spoken word artist. And so Maggie's a wonderful entertainer. And so we're going to be asking everyone to be coming out. We'll have flyers for that soon. And Aisha, hold on. Everybody, I want to thank you for coming again, and good night.